Astrid, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited to have you here because I've been hearing for many years about what you do. So let's start from there. What is Jin Shin Jyutsu and how does Flows for Life and what you do, how does that help people, particularly people in midlife? That's the place I'm in, and I'm really interested in what I can do to help myself as I move forward.
Okay, well, I'd like to start with a story. It was about 25, 26 years ago that I worked in a financial bank. I was transitioning from my career in advertising in London to becoming a complementary therapist. And I started studying the body, which was through aromatherapy and massage and getting a real literally feel the body, the physical body. And I felt that there was something missing, but that comes a little bit later, because while I was transitioning from my career in advertising to being a complementary therapist, I worked in a big financial bank in the center of London, in the city of London. I started getting migraines, or migraines, as you call them. And I was looking for a way to help myself. I was taking painkillers to prevent the migraines from happening. And I thought, as a fledgling complementary therapist, this wasn't a very good example to set for my impending clients. So I was searching for something, and someone that I knew said to me, well, have you tried Jin Shin Jyutsu? And I said, Jin what? Because I'd never heard of it. And it was something that was so totally unfamiliar to me. But she lent me a book on Jin Shin Jyutsu, and I went to the index and I looked up headaches and migraine headaches. And it said to hold SEL 18 and 16. And I realized that I probably should go back and read the book because I had no idea what that meant. But then, of course, what I realized is that Jin Shin Jyutsu works with different energy sites on the body. So we have an inbuilt system of energy sites, which are about the size of a tennis ball. And each one of these energy sites, and we have 26 on the left and 26 on the right, which are mirror images of each other. Each of these energy sites have a function, have a meaning, have a location, and can help us on all levels. So they can help us physically, mentally, emotionally, digestively, and spiritually. And that is a big thing. But anyway, to go back to my story, so I figured out that safety energy lock, which is what we call these energy sites, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute, that each safety energy lock has the potential to help us. And safety energy lock 18, which is on the base of the thumb, is a really good way to clear the head. So when we place our fingers on the base of the thumb, then we can clear the head. So at the start of a headache, at the start of tension, if our eyes hurt or anything going on with the head, we can clear that quite quickly just by putting our fingers there. So that is the first energy site that I learned about. And the second energy site that I learned about for the head is on the outside of the heels, which is safety energy lock 16, this energy site that actually pulls the energy down from the head. Because when things get stuck, there are symptoms. And so what we want to do is we want to clear the pathway and get that energy moving. Very often people ask me, oh, is this like Reiki? And which is linked to chakras. It includes the chakras. We never talk about the chakras, but it includes the chakras. It includes the meridians, which we call something else, because meridians are what people who do acupuncture call these energy pathways. But it's the energy pathways of the meridians. We include them, we work with them, but it is so much more than just that. So when I started getting a migraine headache when I was at work, I decided, okay, I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to go home. I'm going to stay. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to sit in a cubicle for as long as it takes. I'm going to do these exercises, and I'm going to see if it clears my headache. Because what happened with my migraines is that I'd get visual disturbances, as many people do, and I wouldn't be able to work on the computer. I mean, it was impossible. I couldn't see anything. Everything was jagged. So I went to the cubicle in the bathroom and I held my 18s, my base of the thumb on both hands. Then I held the outside of my heels. And I swear to goodness, within 5 minutes, the whole thing had cleared up. 10 minutes in, I came out of that cubicle. I was as clear-headed, even better than before I had the visual disturbances.
Wow.
And this is what Jin Shin Jyutsu can do. So Jin Shin Jyutsu is an ancient Japanese healing art. It has this fancy name, but in actual fact, even though it's called Japanese healing art, it is actually a universal art because it is available to each and every one of us. And it's also available for animals as well. They have that same system of energy sites built in, and we can even do it on plants, a bit like Reiki. But we humans have this whole system built in that we can access, we can work with this system ourselves, which is the beauty of Jin Shin Jyutsu. And that's why the last 25, 26 years, I have just become more and more passionate about it. And, you know, I've gone from treating individuals in clinics to sort of working with individuals online, but more than anything is teaching groups of people how to do this for themselves, how to learn even the basics of Jin Shin Jyutsu to be able to help oneself. So that's where I started 25 years ago. And, you know, Jin Shin Jyutsu is a lifelong study. It's like you could relate it to acupuncture, but Jin Shin Jyutsu is as simple as holding a thumb or a finger.
How does just holding a part of your body, how does that work? So obviously, you know, you're saying it's an energy point, but what is it about the hand holding that makes that work?
That's a really brilliant question. The way the energy moves through our body, besides having this system of energy sites, of these safety energy locks, the way that the energy moves through the body and through the hands enables us to make a connection with these energy sites. So your hands are actually actively, energetically dynamic, okay? And that dynamic quality about your hands enables you to make that connection and activate and clear and recharge like a battery, recharge each and every energy site that you place your hand on.
That's
And
amazing.
it is the same thing when you hold a thumb or a finger. So the way the energy moves through the body, it moves through the thumb and each finger. So we have 14,400 energy functions that move through the thumb and 14,400 that move through each finger. So when you hold a finger, when you hold a thumb, you are activating, you are harmonizing, balancing 14,400 of those energy functions directly, and all 144,000 energy functions, or 444,000 minus 14,400 indirectly.
I mean, it's just mind-blowing, isn't it? I mean,
It
this
is
is
mind-blowing, and yet it is so simple, because if you feel worry, you can hold your thumb and calm your mind. You know, I always say to people who have never heard of Jin Shin Jyutsu, and they like to meditate, but they find it very difficult to calm the mind. I always say, okay, sit quietly, close your eyes and hold your thumb. And the meditation will come to you. You don't have to go and seek out the meditation. You don't have to do anything. You can just sit there and hold your thumb and it'll just come to you. And, you know, you might close your eyes and you go into this timeless space where there is calm, where there is peace. And you might look at your clock and see that you've been there for an hour and it just feels like no time at all. That is what a meditation is, to go into this space of no time, no space, no kind of, it's timeless, it's no thing, it's lovely, it's blissful, because there's no worry, there's no fear, which is what you can harmonize if you hold your index finger. There's no anger, which you can harmonize if you hold your middle finger. There's no grief or sadness, which you can harmonize if you hold your ring finger. And there's no effort, there's no trying to, there's no pretense, there's no, you know, there's lots of if you hold your little finger, you can get to that effortless reality. So little finger is actually one of my favorites because it is the one that helps change your efforting reality to your effortless reality. Everything is going wrong in the day. I can't get hold of a person. My car is broken down. I'm late for a meeting. I can't get to the meeting, whatever. You're in a complete, overwhelming state of being. Just stop, hold your little finger, change the energy within. And you know what? Then it changes without as well. And you might find that the AA is on its way, and then you can get a hold of the person and, oh no, it's not a problem because the meeting's going to run late anyway. And,
It all
things
comes
just
together.
start to fall into place.
It's just incredible. And I would have to say that I am definitely on some people, they find the whole spiritual energy thing hard to fathom, hard to get their head around. And I totally get that. And I was in that place some time ago. But in my older years, and now that I'm in my midlife, I'm starting to explore different things because maybe I've had a few experiences in my life where something weird has happened, or I've seen something strange in the sky, which has happened a few times, or, an animal has done something unexpected where I felt a connection, or all of these things. And you kind of think, there's something else going on here that we can't see, like an energy, and you feel it in your body, and you feel it when you meditate, and you feel it when you do yoga, and all of these things kind of come together. Maybe you've had some acupuncture and you feel it again. So it kind of gets you thinking. And the way my brain goes is always to the science as well, because I suppose I'm a bit analytical. Don't hold it against me. But the science is that if you take the strongest microscope, if you look at your skin and your cells and you go down deep, deep, deep to the nucleus and the protons and everything else, then all you see is energy. So it's just, we are literally vibrating balls of energy. And the reason that we're solid is because we are vibrating in a certain way. And so, but the connection, the thing that's connecting all of us and our skin and everything and holding it together and connecting me to you, even if it's online, is energy. And so, I mean, how old is this type of healing? How old is this method? How long has this been used?
Again, a really good question, because the principles of Jin Shin Jyutsu are exactly as you have outlined them. They are as old as mankind because we are energetic beings. And, we are much more than just the physical surface stuff. We are made up of different layers, and those different layers have to do with the manifested energy and the unmanifested energy. And what connects those two? Well, it's the rate of vibration of the energy. Everything vibrates. Everything has atoms that vibrate. We are made up of, say, I think last count was about 35 to 37 trillion cells. And within each cell, we have 100 trillion atoms that vibrate. Now, that is just mind-boggling, but it is about vibration. So when you practice Jin Shin Jyutsu, you increase the vibration of the energy, and therefore you can re-energize, you can calm the mind, because you need energy to be calm. But it's interesting because the science is there. The science is the energy. And when I have worked on say people in hospitals who are connected to monitors, you can see the changes happening in front of you. They will express, if they've been in pain, they will express that they are more comfortable, the pain has gone, whatever it is. The changes happen very quickly. And I love this because it is scientific. It is not sort of woo up in the sky kind of thing. It is a practical way to access your energy body, to help the body itself on all levels, because the body follows what the energy is doing. And when I see people, I can read them because I know if there is something going on in their body, then I know that where the energy needs to be corrected. And it's a question of knowing how the energy needs to be corrected to change the physical.
Well, it's fascinating because they also say things like, meditation. Now, in fact, I think they're doing studies on this meditation, which is the use of energy, as you were just talking through there. They are now doing studies where they are affecting cancer cells by group meditation, just group meditation. They're able to reduce the growth of these cancer cells. And this is a scientific study going on as we speak.
Mm.
And there's so many other things to do with energy. And I suppose if you think about it in the purest terms, I mean, our cells have mitochondria in it. The mitochondria is an
The
energy
energy
producing
production.
cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you think about things that go wrong, like cancer and other things, that's usually down to the mitochondria going wrong for some reason. And maybe the body hasn't got rid of it and it's taken hold and all this kind of stuff. But essentially, it comes down to energy. And in the simplest form, I suppose, thinking about, if someone's listening to this and they're thinking, oh no, this is just, I don't believe this whole energy malarkey. If you think about it, there's been those times when you've sat down and you thought, oh, I must phone my sister or I must phone my friend. And then they phone you. And so you are already connecting without knowing it on a subconscious level to their energy and maybe reaching out. And they've then picked up the phone and said, I want to speak to them. And so it's clear that there is something going on here that we probably don't on a conscious level really properly understand. And so I love your passion for it and the fact that you've now created this lifestyle business that you're running, and with the idea that you're going to be able to help people and you'll be able to, I'm assuming that you give them the tools that they then do this on themselves. Is that
Yes,
correct?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because it's all about showing people how they can work on themselves. That's where I've been for the last 4 years, really, working with people individually and all online because the energy knows no limits. So when I work in groups, it's very, very powerful when we practice together. And more, I'm practicing, I'm doing the practice of Jin Shin Jyutsu with groups online, sort of practicing around the world. And these are large groups, and it's very, very powerful for everyone. So harmonizing within as a group, we harmonize so much more as well. And the best thing about Jin Shin Jyutsu is that we already do it, even if we don't know what we're doing. Because when a baby is born, the first thing they do, well, one of the first things that a baby does is it sucks its thumb. Now, why does it do that? It does that because it knows that if I suck my thumb, I'm going to be re-energizing my body. I'm going to be helping my digestive system. The thumb is connected to the spleen energy and the stomach energy, so therefore helping the digestive system and just helping the whole body. So we do this naturally. And I've even had a client who was a student who was very worried about exams, but who also loved to suck her thumb because it gave her that nurturing feeling. It's also nourishment for the emotions and everything. So it's very nourishing. And I said to her, instead of sucking your thumb, you can hold it. And she came back and she said, thank you so much. That is just so wonderful because it gives you the same kind of feeling of being nurtured, being taken care of, and just calming and regenerating and revitalizing. So we do this naturally. And when I watch talk shows, it's very interesting to see what people are doing with their hands. And usually they are in a wonderful Jin Shin Jyutsu self-help position and they have no idea what they're doing. The Queen, Prince William, they all do Jin Shin Jyutsu, but they don't know that they're doing it.
Or maybe they do, and they're just not telling us.
Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Who knows?
It's really interesting because you said there about sucking the thumb. So my sister, when we were tiny, my mum had a terrible time getting her to stop sucking her thumb. And to the point that back in those days, they would paint something on your nails
Yes.
and it would taste disgusting. Goodness knows
Yes.
what was in it, what chemicals were in it.
Yeah.
And that was the only way to stop her from doing that, from sucking her thumb. But now she is an adult. She's an adult with bad stomach problems. So I wonder if, as a baby, she was actually seeking that stomach relief.
Yes.
And so that's why she was sucking her thumb. So that's really
Yes.
interesting. And then the other thing you said was around the middle finger. and about how to get rid of anger.
Mm-hmm.
So does that link to the fact that in society and culture, we stick our middle finger up because we're angry with somebody and we give someone the middle finger? I mean, is that connected? We just don't
Yes.
know.
Well, it's very interesting. It's a great point of for discussion. But it's interesting that we do this or we do this, you know.
Mm,
In this country, we do fear and anger
mm,
together
yeah,
like that.
it's
Um,
really
and then the
fascinating.
other way is that we do the peace sign, okay, which is also the index finger and middle finger, but it's the other way around.
Mm.
And you know, that's maybe the harmonized version of,
So
I
the
don't know, maybe
inverted
you could
version
you
of the,
could
yeah.
yeah. You know,
So,
when you point the finger at someone, you point the index finger at someone, you're pointing three fingers back at yourself. So you're pointing the fear finger at someone else, but you're pointing the anger, grief, and effort finger back at yourself. You know,
mm,
it's very interesting to watch how we use our hands and the symbols of what we do with our hands, how
mm.
we interpret those as well.
Yeah, and how they're interlinked to something that's really ancient, an ancient practice of energy. And
Yes.
and I do really believe that somewhere in the distant past, we have, as humans, we have lost our knowledge of how to use the energy that we have that is around us and runs through us and in the earth and everything else. I mean, we just have a look at
Yes.
Stonehenge and you can see that they now think that that's an ancient energy area that was used as a vibrational space to use
Hmm.
frequencies,
Hmm. Yeah.
which we know is an energy of frequency, and they've built a replica of it, and with all of the stones standing, and they've been measuring the kind of frequencies that go on in the center, and they believe because of that the rate of the frequency, but also because there's written text of people traveling great miles to go there to heal. They believe it was like a healing area. So there's all of these kind of stories going on, and we'll never know. We'll never know 100% because there's, unless we go back in time. And I don't think they've actually discovered time travel just yet.
Hmm.
But there is this kind of really exciting thing that maybe we're just starting to relearn what we always knew, but somehow it got lost. And it brings me to think about, especially what you were telling me then about how you help people online, you help people over a computer, and some people might go, well, how could you possibly do that? Because, you know, you're in one place, they're in another place, and you just got a computer between you. But there's a experiment, or many experiments around quantum entanglement. They've been doing experiments where they are adjusting energy and how energy links to stars that are many light years away. And they're seeing that it's duplicated regardless of the space in between. If anyone's curious to know about quantum entanglement, then definitely look it up. I won't be
Very
able to
interesting.
explain it.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, isn't it? And it just goes to show that it's kind of, there's this mirror image in the quantum world all around energy and atoms and all of that stuff. And it makes me feel or think that practices like Jin Shin Jyutsu is connected in some way in the quantum field because it's using that energy. They say the same thing about all kinds of other practices, as you said, you know, meditation, but also things like crystals. So crystals, they think the energy that flows through the crystal is all connected in the quantum world. So it's all connected in the quantum energy field rather than anything else. And this is something that I'm only just starting to dip into, but it's fascinating. It's fascinating. And I think I'm always the one, because I help people in business and I have, you know, that's my business head. That's what I do for a day job. But I am so connected with this thing that we don't know what we don't know until we know it. And I think
Mm.
there's so much we don't know,
Mm.
particularly in this woo-woo kind of arena where so many people kind of roll their eyes and go, oh goodness, Sarah's going off again. You know, she's starting to talk about all this stuff again. But actually, I think that we all need to pay attention to it because it's going to give us skills that can really help.
Mm.
So in terms of what you do and your finger holds and helping people to do self-healing and the whole spirit, mind, body thing. What would you say to someone who is maybe having some issues with their sleep? What would you say to them about that? Is there anything that you could do to help them with that? Or, you know, maybe if they've got
Well,
menopause or
many people have issues with sleep. So sleep is a big issue for people. And I'd say that possibly the easiest thing to do if sleep is because you have worries or if you've got too much going on in your mind is just hold the thumb. Okay. And you could hold the thumb and also hold that base of the thumb area, which helps to clear the head. So you've got the thumb and the base of the thumb. Okay.
that,
Just like that. Yeah.
that feels really reassuring.
Yes. And you don't have to put any pressure because you're working with energy. No pressure is needed, no pulling, no pushing, nothing. Just wrap the hand around and just relax the hands and just hold. Just hold. And then there could be a big, exhale, letting go. And very often this is all that is needed. Sometimes, there are other issues, but this is also going to help soothe the digestive system as well. So yeah, that would be a great place to start with the sleeplessness. And I've got another exercise on flowsforlife.com, which is my website. So if you look up insomnia, then there's another exercise which is a little bit more, it's a little bit more than just holding the thumb.
Wonderful. And what about, is that similar to anxiety? Because I feel an instant calmness. Is that a
Use
good
the
thing?
thumb. Yes, you can use the thumb for anxiety. Fear and anxiety are also really helped by holding the index finger. The index finger is related to the emotion of anxiety, and we call the emotions in Jin Shin Jyutsu an attitude, which is kind of a fixed state of an emotion that becomes a habit that then can go deeper and become something more physical. So it's interesting because these emotions that we call attitude, when they're stuck, as I call them, can then become something else, more manifested version of that emotion, So we want to really harmonize and move those emotions so that they don't become stuck. And of course, we are human, so we are going to experience worry and fear and anger and grief and effort. We are, but we don't want to get stuck in them. Don't want to get stuck in them.
And they say so often, don't they, that dis-ease creates disease. And so we need to remove that because you will get ill if you don't. So I
Yes.
think that everyone should be practicing some kind of energy work or to at least explore how it might help them. I know that I'm trying with some crystal stones and also with some meditation, but I'm definitely going to try your skills for sure. Definitely going to explore flows for life. No
Well,
doubt.
there's lots of information and lots and lots and lots of exercises. I've got an index, for all sorts of ailments. And what I like about Jin Shin Jyutsu is that it's very practical. I'm a practical person. And one of my teachers very early on said, you don't need to know how electricity works to turn on the light. Just press the switch. Well, same with Jin Shin Jyutsu. You don't have to know initially how it works. If you want to study it a bit further, because it is profound, it is huge, it is, never ending. It's a lifelong study, but it's as simple as holding a thumb or a finger. And it's as simple as placing your hands on the body. And, one of the foremost teachers of Jin Shin Jyutsu who brought it, actually, she handedly brought Jin Shin Jyutsu to the West from Japan, was Mary Burmeister. She said, be your own testimony. So I can tell you till I'm blue in the face, what to do for this or that, but until you actually do it and place your hands or hold your thumb and be your own testimony, will you experience the power of what you have been given, which is a gift that you have been given, because you don't have to create any of this. It is already inbuilt, and that is the best news of all. All you need to do is remember or need to know where to place your hands and then take it from there.
I'm sure that calmness, that reassurance kind of releases that hormone oxytocin, and which is the hugging hormone. We know that oxytocin actually gets rid of cortisol.
Yeah.
So the stress hormone is busted by oxytocin, which will come in and get rid of excess cortisol in the body. So if you've been suffering from a really seriously stressful time, then the oxytocin comes in and just helps to clear that nasty or too much of that hormone, because it is the king of hormones, let's face it, but it
Yeah.
gets rid of too much and helps you
And
feel
that
calmer.
fight or flight, that fight or flight really does severely affect a continual fight or flight, severely affects the adrenals. So we want to relax the body and recharge the adrenals. And we can do that very easily by placing our hands on the small of the back. So just here on the small of the back, that's where we have a safety energy lock, or an energy site that is just wonderful for just relaxing the body, recharging the adrenals. And that's all you need to do. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And as I learned something recently, because I'm going through menopause, or I'm not quite there yet, but I'm on my way. And I didn't realize that as the ovaries are shutting down from producing so much of the hormones that the body did need my body needed when it was younger, the ovaries shut down and then the adrenals kick in. So they start producing a little bit more hormone in the body, because we still need the cortisol, we still need all of those things. But
Sure.
if you've gone through life exhausting your adrenals and it feeling exhausted with being constantly in fight or flight, that could be one of the reasons why someone might be experiencing such terrible menopause symptoms, because the adrenals just aren't able to pick up as the ovaries start shutting down. So that's really important, isn't it? Just to know those few steps of how to help heal your adrenals and how to help bring them back into the place that they need to be to operate well.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. Is there anything else that you could suggest for someone who's going through maybe menopause symptoms or heading in that direction?
A whole range of things.
Oh, fantastic. Give me your top one then.
Well, it depends, what are your main symptoms, like hot flushes? Is that a big one?
No, I've been very lucky. I haven't had that. I think it's the ups and downs and the feelings of I'm on a roller coaster of hormones, which I'm assuming is just, the body trying to manage things, and then it's not, and then just kind of almost like a roller coaster ride.
So for hormones, there is an exercise which is on my website, which is called Main Central. And this is just a wonderful way to rebalance everything, but also rebalance all the hormones. You might want to try that one out and
definitely going
how
to.
Main Central once a day, if you're having those symptoms, might really, really settle things down. Yeah.
And I think that gives me such a sense of empowerment that there's something that could help me, and
it's totally taking back control of our body. When we know that we can actually do something about it ourselves. And of course, Jin Shin Jyutsu is not a substitute for medical diagnosis, attention, supervision. But if we can get things, settled before they become something more necessary to go and see the doctor, as it were, then why not? That is what Jin Shin Jyutsu is so incredibly good at.
You're clearly passionate about it, and I can understand why. I mean, it's like you've discovered a little treasure, or a big treasure actually, and you're just wanting to share it with the world.
Well, it's kind of fundamental to our being, and whilst a lot more people know about it now, a very small amount of people know about it still.
Yeah.
And it's just such an easy way to regenerate ourselves, to calm ourselves, to deal with, particular symptoms, because it just covers everything. And fundamentally, the body, when it is low in energy, cannot function properly. And when the body cannot function properly, then all manner of things can go wrong. The chemistry can go wrong, which affects the immune system, affects the lymphatic system. If the body can't clean itself of toxins, which is something Jin Shin Jyutsu does really, really well as well. Then if the body can't clean itself, then we get lots and lots of things. And one of the things is inflammation. So inflammation is fundamentally what drives a lot of these degenerative diseases as well. So cleaning, regenerating, very, very important. Clearing toxins from the body, very, very important. And of course, Jin Shin Jyutsu works really well with lots of other things, So it is complementary to many other things, and it's all inclusive to other modalities as well.
So one final question in terms of ailments, because I have two parents at the moment going through this, is around dementia and memory loss. Are
Yes.
there techniques that within Jin Shin Jyutsu that can help with those kinds of things?
Yes. I mean, it's not things like dementia, Alzheimer's, these degenerative diseases, chronic diseases. It's not a quick fix. You have to keep working at it, and, slowly maybe the symptoms will improve. There'll be a little bit more energy, a little bit more clarity. But I'd say one of the things is the base of the thumb here, and holding each finger. Everyone can do this. You get them to just hold as a matter of course during the day. There's no limit on how long you can hold a finger for, or you hold all your fingers. You can do it as an exercise. You can do it with them, as a sort of fun exercise, 2 minutes or 1 minute each finger. And that really regenerates the whole body. Also, for memory, there is the first position of main central, which I mentioned before. That helps the brain. So right hand on the top of the head, left fingers between the eyebrows on the forehead. You spend a bit of time there, and that can really help with senility and memory.
So when I feel quite exhausted at the end of the day, because I do a lot of computer work, desk work, consultation, all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, my brain is literally quite fried. And a thing that I found myself doing, because it's like self-soothing, is I sit in a quiet place, I put my hands here, and then I pull it across my forehead and across my eyebrows. And
Yes.
what you were saying there about that hold almost it reminds me exactly of it. And I feel re-energized by that. And I feel my brain, it's almost like my brain is clearing the cloud, the fog, the mist. I'm coming out from it. So
Yes. Now that is really nice. You see, that's something that you might have picked up somewhere, because this is something that I know someone else in another modality does. But in actual fact, when we talk about it in terms of Jin Shin Jyutsu, we have an energy site here on the forehead, and that is what you're doing. You're actually recharging that energy site to help you. Everything you do in Jin Shin Jyutsu will also recharge the energy. But I've got a YouTube channel as well, Flows for Life, which has lots and lots of videos where you can practice along, where you can deal with different issues. There's a video for vitality and calm, which I would suggest that you do. It's a more extensive exercise, but it's really simple to follow along and re-energize. The world is very different when we have energy versus no energy. It just is so different. You lose your joie de vivre when you have your no energy. You lose your mojo. You can't function. You can't produce. You can't think. You can't. You can hold fingers in a meeting. No one will know what you're doing unless they've seen this interview. And it's just so simple. You can always do something to help yourself.
I call that your zest for life, like helping to boost your zest for life.
Once you know that you can do this, you can't unknow it. You know that you can hold, you know that you can help yourself, and even help your loved ones as well. Tell them about it. Many people do.
And on your YouTube channel, do you have anything for dogs? Because I have a poorly dog at the moment. She's getting a bit old, and she's got a bad leg, and she's kind of stumbling around a little bit. Is there anything that can help her feel a little bit better?
Yeah. I'd say I don't have any videos on how to treat animals because I prefer to, I mean, I can treat animals, but I prefer to stick with humans. But there are other practitioners who are very well versed in treating animals. So if you look up Jin Shin Jyutsu for animals, you'll have people come up. But in terms of intuitively how you could work is, if there's an issue with an area like you say your dog's leg, just place one hand on their leg and place another hand maybe at the back of their neck or just on their, just place your hand on the top of their spine and then just gently work your way down the spine or just, place your hand on their body
Yeah.
and just hold it there and you'll just see them relaxing. It's wonderful to see pets really relaxing when you place your hands, and even when you do it on humans. When I treat someone, they come in all stressed, their face is all stressed, they lie on the couch and then they just relax, and you can see that peace coming into their face, even when I work with them online. It's
Oh,
wonderful.
it's fantastic. It really is. It's opened my eyes to it, and I'm definitely going to find out more. For anyone who wants to go and find Flows for Life, remind me of your website address and the name of your YouTube channel.
Yep. So flowsforlife.com. So flows for FOR life.com. And it's the same for the YouTube channel, Flows for Life. And yeah, you can get started immediately with whatever you want to focus on, because there's lots of different videos there for lots of different ailments as well.
And by the sounds of it, I think everyone should be checking it out for sure. And I'll include all of the links below so everyone knows where to go. But thank you so much for your time today. It's just been so enlightening. And I feel really quite invigorated to find out more and to help myself, my dog, my parents. I feel like I can help everybody just by
Yes.
sharing a little bit of this. And that feels really great. So thank you so much for spending your time with me today.
Well, thank you, Sarah, and thank you for letting me talk about Jin Shin Jyutsu.